Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz, and you are with us tonight on Star Nation's organization's main fan page on Facebook, and we're doing a live stream show called Communications from Home. And I'll be your host tonight, and tonight is Tuesday, actually, Tuesday, May 15th. And here we are, halfway through May already. You know, what do they say? Time flies when you're having fun. And so we must be having a lot of fun because it's going by really quickly. And so welcome everybody, and we appreciate you being with us tonight, and especially those who are watching the recorded show. We realize that, life is really busy, and especially this time of year when you have graduations and those kinds of parties going to and that kind of thing, and school getting wound up, and end of the school year. So if you're watching the recorded show, we appreciate that. And as you are watching with us tonight live, and you guys know the drill by now, right? Right. Taking your phone or on your laptop, however you're watching the show, and sharing the show. And I'm going to do the same thing right now, liking and sharing, if you wouldn't mind, because one of the things that we know for sure these days is that liking, sharing, and commenting on the live stream shows helps us to be in the news feed more often. And that means that people are able to find us much easier. So I see it as is part of our service here, right? Being a light worker, and being able to help people, and that's what I'm doing right now. So I think I'm going to share it to the Radio Network closed group, and also to the Academy in my timeline. Got to make sure I'm on the right Academy page. There we are. Okay, we're live streaming. Right now. Join us, please. It would be helpful if I could spell. All right. And we're good. There. Thank you for doing that for us. We really appreciate it. And look who's in the house. We got Rob Kendall. Hi, Rob. Thanks for being with us tonight. And, he always says this to my guest, and it always makes us smile, because my guest tonight is radio show, live stream show host, and contributing writer to the Star Nations magazine, Jo Labbe. And Jo is the host of Chakra Sessions and also Soul Connections live stream shows right here on Facebook. And this is what Rob always says to Jo. What do you know, Jo? And it always makes us smile. Always. What I'd like to do is share a little bit about Jo before we bring her on. Okay. We're going to sing her praises. Jo lives over on the northeastern part of the United States. For those who are listening and don't live in the United States, Jo is one of those people that live in the Northeast. And she is the founder of the Trinity School of Mystical Energy in Western Massachusetts. She's a renowned healer and educator who studied with Sonia Choquette. I got to slow down, enunciate my words. Sonia Choquette, Lisa Champion, and Reese Thomas. Jo's depth and breadth of both traditional and energy medicine enable her to accomplish her mission, and that is healing the healer. And she does that really, really well. I can attest. She is a Yuzu, I'm going to mispronounce this, Yusui Reiki master teacher and sixth sensory practitioner. Her areas of expertise include Reiki, alchemical healing, IET, aroma touch, technique, and angelic essence healing, psychic development, tarot, and empath work. Polly Jo studied at the Reese Thomas Institute of Energy Medicine and received her BA in education from the University of Massachusetts with a concentration in dance and minors in psychology and mathematics. Now, isn't that a combination? Now, this lady is, her education is really well-rounded. She is the former owner of Heart and Soul Center, Heart and Soul Dance Academy, and Hilltown Dance Center. She's also the former national president of the National Association of Dance and Affiliated Arts, Inc. And her show is here on Star Nation's radio network, live stream shows on Tuesday noon Eastern time and Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And those are weekly shows. So if you want to have more of Polly Jo, you can always come to her shows. So we're going to bring her on. And we're going to do this. Hi, Polly Jo. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Neshi. How you doing?
Good. And is that not true? Is that whenever we see Rob's comment to you, it always makes you smile. I know that for sure. But it makes me smile. It's just so playful.
It is. It always gets my inner child loves it.
That's good. And he's also saying she can dance with the continuum.
I do a lot, Rob.
And Cindy Lynn's in the house too. Hi, Cindy Lynn. So glad you could join us tonight. Yay. The gang's showing up.
Nice.
I call our Star Nations community the peeps.
Yep.
And, they're starting to file in. So welcome to the show. We don't get to do this very often, the two of us.
No. No, we can't coordinate our schedules very well.
No. But, I'm so glad that we were able to do this one because I think the information that we're going to be sharing tonight is I'm hoping that it's going to be a aha moment for some people. And for some people, it's going to be validation, I think. And the reason why is because Polly Jo wrote the first part of a 2-part series article in the May issue. And I'm going to show them the cover and then your article, and we're going to talk about it just a little bit. Let's see, we're going to give that the solo. That's the cover of the May issue. And Polly Jo's article, isn't that a great picture of her? This is her article, Our Chakra System Through Ascension, Part 1. Part 1. I'm going to see if we can do it this way. There we go. So, what's this? Cindy Lynn's telling us something important. Prayers to family and friends affected by the storms and tornadoes up in the Northeast. I didn't know you guys were having tornadoes.
Yes, we've been under a tornado watch.
Oh my goodness.
And we had some energy rumble through. I have a good sense of when things are close by and not. And so I wasn't nervous, but I had a long conversation with Zeus about taking his storms out to sea if he would. So yes, it's been rumbling through. I don't think anything touched down our way, but you never know, because sometimes it's fine where you are and a mile away.
Yep.
So
that's so true. And thank you, Cindy Lynn, for letting us know that. Olivia's hello, Olivia.
Oh, hi, Olivia.
Yeah,
nice to see you. Hi, Lindsay.
Lindsay June.
Yeah.
Good to have you guys with us. Oh, and Rob is saying that Lori closed Magica because of the weather. Wow.
Well, there you have it.
There you have it. If Lori's closing, he's taking the safety route. So what we're talking about is Ascension tonight and our chakra systems. Polly Jo, you shared something with us in your bio that I didn't read out loud because I'd really like to have the story told by you. That there was some significant energy shift for you in 2013. And it relates to your ascension. Mm-hmm. I was hoping you could share that story with us.
So I've had a few, a few of those. We were talking about that earlier today. One of the major shifts that I had actually happened because I got the H1N1 virus, which a number of people have heard about. And I'm somebody who normally runs a very low grade temperature, so my regular temperature is about 96.5. So when I got the flu from my dance students, I ran 104 fever for 3 days, and then I had 101 fever for a week, and then I ran a 99-degree temperature for almost 6 months.
Oh my goodness.
And as part of that, I started having visions and visitations from the ancestors. Mm-hmm. And so I had this visitation from a spiritual teacher of mine. I always referred to him as grandfather. He worked with me when I was a small child because my grandparents lived very close to the reservation, the Seneca Nation in Akron, New York. And he would play with me and teach me things. And I kind of lost track of that as an adult. And so he came in and basically explained to me that the energy of the healers back in the ancient times, there had been healers who were able to heal everyone. We had the ability to, take care of our tribe, take care of our community. And then there was a point where we started to use it from an ego place. We did it for our own self, advancement. And at that point, sort of the gods kind of took the healing power and spread it out across the planet so that no one person could hold all of the energy at once. It was a safeguard for everyone. And there was a time when the healing would have to be reintegrated, and there would be a time when the planet would be in crisis. And when that happened, the healings would be woven back together so that there would be certain healers who would be able to heal, the community, but we'd also be on tap to heal the planet because the planet was going to need us. And it was crystal clear. And then when I later traveled to John of God in Brazil, I had a number of huge energy shifts that happened where I was channeling saints and all sorts of things, which I still am able to do. But it was quite a new experience to wear Mother Mary, for instance, for, half a day. And from there was the curriculum for my school. And it just sort of downloaded really quickly. And it had a lot to do with the evolution of our energy system and how it's shifting to shift with the planet as it's changing.
Ah, and that is the greatest segue I've ever heard. Because in your article, in the part 1 article, you really shared about, I would say, a historical, energetic story that affects us all. And that is something that you came to understand through this energy shift, and your grandfather, your teacher, is the one that brought that to you. So can you tell them a little bit about why you chose to write this right now?
Well, one of the things that keeps coming up is there are a lot of people who are really sensitive. And those who are really sensitive are feeling the earth starting to shift her vibration. And so because of that, they're starting to have certain symptoms. And, they're going to doctors, and doctors aren't knowing what's wrong with them, or they can't diagnose it, and they feel, lots of times like maybe they're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But these symptoms are happening all over. And what I've found is that, the more we know and we understand
Mm-hmm.
that you might be having ascension symptoms. Some people are calling it the ascension flu, because sometimes it really feels like the flu.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really your chakras trying to expand to new levels and trying to take on new energy. And you have to shed the old stuff that's blocking it to be able to make room for it to grow. It's kind of like energy growing pains.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the history part that I talk about this month is to let us know that this isn't a one-time deal. We've done this as a species many, many times. But we get a little in our ego brain and think, we're special and this is the only time it's happened. Well, this is the fourth time that humanity has gone through it.
Yep.
And they've talked to me more about, the dinosaurs and why they didn't make it through their expansion. And it was why they went into extinction, and why the planet had to do the ice age, because it needed to go through the regrowth again. But for our sake, we can just look at the 4 times that we've done it significantly.
Yes. Yes. And which is it's a good thing in some ways, because many of us, I used to call it past lives, but it really is parallel there, because there's only now, right?
Right.
That our soul has lived through this many times.
Yeah.
And so we remember, we know if we allow our soul to lead, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's why people can understand, oh yeah, of course there would be side effects to that, because we had them before. And really it's the vibrational change between one chakra and another. This is a tough one. Going from the 3rd chakra of the planet to the heart chakra, we're asking our energy body to move out of survival mode and step into our higher self, a higher consciousness.
Right.
And she's doing that with or without us.
Right. Exactly.
So
I mean, we're so connected and intertwined with each other. We truly are her children, because our bodies replicate her and our brain waves are connected to her. And so we are so entwined with her that she's literally leading the way. We're following her. Now, that doesn't mean that the work that we can do to remove those barriers, to heal what we can heal, right, is going to help it make it the ascension, her ascension, much easier, more gracefully, right? Okay, we have a couple of comments that we need to address here. Rob is saying that the NP yesterday said I felt hot and clammy, but my temperature was 97.4.
Yep.
The cough was productive, though. Well, at least your cough is productive. Mine's not. It's not that pesky little cough every once in a while. And Cindy Lynn has said, I felt like I was dying with all the physical pain yesterday. I feel so alive today. Right? Yeah.
Yep.
And she says she's definitely letting go of a lot of old patterns and energies, and a lot of change also on the horizon. Well, good. Excellent. That's good stuff. I know it's not easy when we're going through the shifts. It's hard on our physical body many times. It's hard on our emotions, our mental mind, right? Our mental mind tries so hard to understand it and put it in some sort of context that we understand. So when we're talking about our chakras, and our ascension. What happens if, I guess I'm going to ask the question, what happens when we don't do our work?
When we don't do our work, and our energy falls out of alignment with her, it's kind of like when you have friends that you no longer resonate with, you kind of drift away energetically. So we're going to see, and we are seeing, a number of people who are leaving the planet, who are dying of strange things. Some people are dying really early. And part of that's because they haven't gone into alignment with the new energy. Mm-hmm. And for many of us, that was in our contract, that you would stay until the vibration got to this point. And then others of us, were willing to be in the trenches and kind of like help people through. Mm-hmm. I kind of think of, doctors who are out there, there's like the general practitioners that might be your Reiki masters. I'm much more of a field surgeon in the battlefront because, people need to get fixed and get out there. And, if you're meant to be here doing light work, we're going to be ones who really notice the energy shift.
Yes.
And our children, anybody who's under the age of around 25, most of them they've come in with the new energy system intact.
Yes.
That's why we're having things like autism, because they need to hold the new energy and to have those skills. And we just aren't used to that.
Right.
We're having to learn how to deal with that.
Yeah. And that actually makes me think about the generation that is known as the millennials, right? Mm-hmm. The older generations find that generation very difficult to understand, and we try to make them mold into what we older generations would say would be normal. This is what you should be doing now at this age. Right. Blah blah blah. And I tell you what, one of the things I noticed about the millennials is that when I was at Standing Rock a couple of years ago, millennials, when they have something to stand up for, to believe in, and to protect, they will move heaven and earth to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are very, very connected to the Earth Mother, especially. Mm-hmm. And they're fierce warriors. And so it's our job to get them to the point where they can do their job.
Right. Exactly. And recently, I think it was last month, my husband actually shared this with me. That it was an article that the oldest recorded living female in, I believe it was Japan, she was 117, had walked on. She died. Mm-hmm. And she was the last known person to have been born in the 19th century. And as I was reading that, I thought, this is really significant, because look at the space that she held for that vibration, for that century, all by herself.
Yep.
And that when she walked on, that vibration, that frequency was no longer grounded to the earth.
Yep.
Do you have anything about that you want to share? Because that I think that was pretty significant.
Yes, it was significant. And one of the things that's happening is that, we had sort of an older chakra system. And it's going to sound funny to people out there who are Reiki masters when I'm saying the 7 chakra system is an old system. Mm-hmm. It is. And so she was holding on to the last of that energy. Mm-hmm. People who were born in the 19th century only had that capacity, was the 7 chakras. Mm-hmm. Those of us who were born after the bomb dropped.
Oh, yes.
After the bomb dropped, you came in with additional chakras, ones that, you know, may or may not have activated in your body. And now we're starting to take on a multi-dimensional energy system. So we're not just this straight line that everybody sees.
Yeah.
We're much more complicated than that. You've got to imagine they're in front of you, on the sides of you, behind you.
I've actually got a picture that might help, because this is the one that we usually see.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. And what you're saying is, yes, the energy is coming down through us, but we have more chakras
around.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Huh. So for some people, all of us have 12 chakras that we're using more regularly. The 5 chakras that we use periodically have to do with our life purpose and our spiritual mission. So when we're able to bring that energy in with our 7 chakras and use it, you know, it's that vision of the higher self, you know, coming in, then we can really get to work. And when you're able to hold those 5 chakras with your 7, then you get to activate all sorts of fun stuff.
and really, you know, from an indigenous point of view, is that and I have to say that if we go back far enough, everybody is indigenous to some continent, right? And so we hold that in our DNA. Now, indigenous people know that there's a certain way of being, and a lot of times what we call it is a frequency or a vibration. And it's the vibration of love, but it's the love that we have for Grandmother Earth and Grandfather Sky.
Yes.
And their love for us. And so we feel it in our heart chakra.
Right.
That is the key.
Yes.
Right? To be able to hold that higher frequency.
Yes. And there is what's called, some people will call it the higher heart, or they call it the transcendental heart. It's slightly above. When you can hold both of your hearts together, your higher self heart and your earth heart as one, there, you know, when that happens, I see it as because the higher heart is pink in color, you know, kind of like a fuchsia, and your heart chakra is green. And so if you can imagine them turning into a yin yang of the green and the pink, when you're holding that, then your frequency, your vibration expands. And for people who are seers, the person will appear brighter.
Yeah.
That their aura is brighter.
Right.
The autistic, a couple of the autistic children that I've worked with, they're like, "You're really shiny." And I'm like, "Is that an okay thing?" And they're like, "Yes, I can't lose you." You know, because you're shiny.
We have a couple of comments in the
Perfect
chat. Renee is saying, "I'm kicking butt and taking names. It's the new part of me. I'm no longer being a doormat. I want to retain more of my compassion, but still set boundaries."
Yes. Boundaries are huge, because boundaries are the layers of your aura. So if you can think about how we've sort of destroyed Mother Earth's aura, her ozone layers, that's her aura, and what that's done to her, right? And how it's affected her climate, that actually happens for us too. So by setting boundaries with people, we create better boundaries in our aura too. So good job, Renee.
You know, and it's another aspect of holding sacred space.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Now we also have Jill. Hi, Jill. Welcome. So glad you're here. She says, "I love millennials. I think we need to pay more attention to them." I do too.
I do too.
Rob is saying, "Hell, I'm a giant." I can hear him saying this too. And millennials make more sense than baby boomers.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Judy. So glad you're with us tonight, Judy. Thank you for being here. And Rob is continuing. My parents were just outside the generation and never saw eye to eye with it. Yeah?
Well, yes, because our energy is very, we can only experience what we are able to experience. And so,
yeah,
literally, you know, how many parents said, you know, I feel like you're from another planet.
Or we felt like we were
Alien.
not part of this. How did I get into this family?
Yep. I deal with that a lot with my students who are under like 25.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it takes a lot of energy for them to even just sort of stay on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually have friends who identify more with the stars
Mm-hmm.
than the connection here, and
Yep.
And learning how to ground. And
Yes.
And I think that they actually learn how to ground in a different way than a lot of other people do.
Yes, you can actually learn how to ground using another planet. You don't have to use the Earth plane to do that.
See, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
That's one of those aha moments people are feeling right now.
Yeah.
So
you may be more connected to that other star or that other system.
Mm-hmm.
And just you draw like an umbilical cord between that star or that planet and where you are now.
Right.
And allow yourself to have that triangle.
And Rob, boundaries are meaningless without enforcing them.
Oh, yes.
Well, and that is really a part of our life lesson here, isn't it?
Yes, very much so.
Some of it is. How to hold it, and then how to hold it and still be kind.
Ah, yes.
Cindy saying this was me and my family and just being here on this planet. Yeah. A lot of us were like that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember wanting to go home.
Yes.
I used to say that I want to go home, and people are like, well, you are home or you're close to home. And I'm like, no, I want to go home.
You know, I'd be standing outside looking up at the stars and thinking, you know, I'm looking at my home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at my home. And so, and Crystal, hi, Crystal. Thanks for being here. Great point about grounding with another planet. Thank you. I'm a star person, and I find that very helpful.
You are so welcome.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And Jill, she says, Neshi is having an active Merkaba and being able to launch from the tiny space of the heart relevant anymore. It is more relevant today than when I taught it years ago.
Yep.
More relevant today because we have to learn to make sure that we hold that frequency and to be able to do it in a breath and to remain in it. And the only way we do that is by doing it. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's more important today than ever.
Yep.
Renee. And still be kind.
Yes. That's the challenge. That's for sure.
Now, Polly Jo, wouldn't you say that we can actually do that when we are able to bring our hearts together and balance that with our mental mind? Right?
Yes. Yes. There is a part of, there are a number of parts that happen that can help with bringing that all together. There's a picture, a set of circuitry that I teach my students in the second year, which may sound a little complicated, but I'm going to give it a shot anyways.
Get ready, go.
So if you can imagine that you create an infinity between both of your hearts, so that they're running in infinite love and infinite light. That's what the figure 8 is for. And so if you can imagine that happening, and then imagine in your belly your soul's point and your ego, or your third chakra, also coming together in an infinity loop.
Mm-hmm.
And then taking your lower chakras, your second chakra and your first chakra, and connecting it to your life purpose. So grounding your life purpose in your foundation here on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
When those three things happen, it activates some of your upper chakras. In a way, if you can imagine the pyramid on our money.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it creates an energetic pyramid with your third eye being the eye at the top of the pyramid. That's part of the alchemical piece.
Okay.
And for those of you who are seers, when all of that takes place, you would see the person's energy light up in a way that they actually look like a lighthouse.
Oh.
So when their energy looks like a lighthouse, they become a beacon of light.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're all drawn to it, right? It calls people home. That's what a lighthouse is meant to do. It's meant to guide you safely to shore. We're trained to do that. So seeing somebody's energy that looks like that, you know they're safe, that you know they're going to guide you, you know they're going to get you safely into the harbor and protect you. So you're going to energetically sense that with people or not. But the sensitives can often see it when it's occurring. And that's how our energy, it's phase 1 of the ascension process. So within the next 10 to 15 years, you'll see a lot more people who are drawing that or having that as pictures of how things are supposed to be happening during the ascension.
You know, there was a time in my life, when was it? In the 80s, mid-80s, late 80s, I think it was. Here in Wisconsin, there is a vacation place called Door County, and it's on the eastern shores of Wisconsin, right? And there's a lot of lighthouses along there. Well, I got hooked on lighthouses back. I have so many figurines of lighthouses, although I don't have them out anymore because I don't have the space for them. But that is really interesting.
Yeah,
and to have pictures of lighthouses.
There are a lot of people who are drawn to lighthouses, and they have them, in their house. And you can't help it, but when you get near one, you have to not only be there but take a picture of it.
We stayed in one.
Oh, nice.
Twice.
I would love that.
For the family, and got to, and we actually got a tour of one of the lighthouses because it was both of them were working lighthouses. Nice. And between the Coast Guard and Paul being in the National Guard, they happened to know a few people in common. And so I don't remember what his rank was, but he came over and unlocked it and took us up to the top.
Oh, nice. Yes.
It was a hard climb, but worth it.
Yes.
All right. We got a few comments again. So Bill is saying, Polly Jo, interesting comment about grounding elsewhere. Always wanted to go home too, and I was told I have to learn to ground here.
Yes. I mean, ideally, you're meant to take action here on the planet. It's why you're here. You have some kind of, connection here, but you're grounding to both planets. Mm-hmm. So you're connecting your energy to the earth, but you're connecting it to your star or to your planet. Mm-hmm. And with that connection, you also connect to the divine. So it's like you're connecting like this trinity for yourself. And we all know that sometimes it's easier, to have, 3 legs than 2. Right?
That's true.
Like with tables, they're going to tip over if it's only 2 legs, mm-hmm. but a 3rd leg will actually stabilize it. And it's
like a tripod.
Just like a tripod. So you're creating an energy tripod to keep yourself more stable.
Novus Ordo.
Rob gets me every time.
I know.
Really hard.
A little Latin to go along with that dollar bill.
Yes.
And Judy is saying also in Michigan, yeah, those lighthouses, both sides, right? Both
Yep.
sides. And because we have the largest freshwater ocean between us.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's no mistake either. Hey, Jocelyn. Jocelyn just joined us. Hello there.
Hi.
Good to have you here. All right. So, yes, Renee, that's true. That's true that we are the divine child.
Yes.
Yeah. When you have the Holy Trinity right here on earth.
We do.
We are part of that. We are the Holy Child.
Yes, we are. Mm-hmm. I always see it as, you know, the Divine Father, the Divine Mother, and ourselves. We're all the Trinity. So that's why my school and my sanctuary are called that, because you are all that is needed.
Right. Exactly. And, you know, and what I love about it is when I remember when it was like one of those aha moments for me, right? Is when I realized that everything that I needed to know and to do, I had it inside me already.
Yep.
And it was my job to uncover it, to bring it together, and to have myself aligned in a way that I could utilize my gifts.
Yep.
And those memories.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I make it sound like it's so simple.
I know. I say to my students all the time, like, okay, we're going to do this. And they're like, all right. And they're like, you made it sound so easy. And I'm like, well, you had years of practice blocking, you know, it takes a little more than, you know, a couple lessons to undo years of programming.
Yeah. Generations of programming.
Yes.
Generations. Yeah. I mean, to me, that is the historical trauma.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it's the belief systems that we grew up with. And I'm not saying that they all get thrown out. I'm just saying that we have to discern what is needed right now for us individually.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. In that discerning. You know what? I got to check the time because we're having so much fun. Oh, good. We got 20 minutes yet.
Yes, we're doing pretty good.
We're doing good. All right. So I just want to make sure that I got my pictures here. All right. So you were saying about the Kundalini, the 7 chakra system.
Yes.
Is really an outdated system, energy system.
Sorry.
And that's okay because we're all being upgraded, right? To the 12 or the 13 or, you know,
22, 154, whatever you need.
Yeah, really. Whatever you need. Whatever you are able to hold. Right. So, what happens to the 7? They don't just go away.
Oh, no.
We still have them.
We still have them. They're our foundation.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that do the heavy lifting.
Oh, okay.
So if you think of them as they're our power stations. Let me put it that way. And then our other chakras are more like generators. So they're all going to connect into these 7. But they have a more clearly defined function. So right now, like our heart chakra it holds a lot of energy around love and compassion and forgiveness. So the secondary chakras that kind of activate, well, they don't kind of, they do when they're ready, are going to hold really specific things like wisdom and integrity and honesty. And they're things that were normally all grouped into this one, you know, this one chakra was having to do all the work by itself. Now it needs a more expansive view.
Okay.
So it has these extra ones that tie in that run that particular energy for you.
Okay. So that also means then we're bringing in even more information, light language information,
Yep.
coming through those energy centers. Ha.
Right.
All right. So Judy is saying sometimes you use your gifts and don't even realize it because it's so natural.
Well, yes, it's supposed to be natural.
Yes.
It's only when we get in our brain and use it too much that we second guess it, or we allowed somebody else to tell us that we didn't have the gift that we had,
Right.
and we believed them.
Right.
So people do it naturally all the time. How many times do you have a friend who's upset and crying, and you instinctively usually use your left hand and you rub their back, right, in a circular motion? So you're clearing the energy by creating that circle, and you're doing it on the back of their heart chakra, which is energetically telling them that you have their back and that you love and support them. We do it with infants. We do it with children. You can't help it. You just naturally do it.
Right.
So we know how to do it. It's just that we second guess when we do it. Or you rub your belly when it's upset.
Right.
We're trying to clear the energy.
We're trying to clear the spicy food that we ate that we're not supposed to eat.
Right.
Rob is saying, so my symptoms are a firmware upgrade.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So if you're, some of the symptoms that are big right now, like the big ones, are vertigo, dizziness, headaches, fever, any kind of sinus infections that don't respond to medicine, especially, really strong cough, coughing, congestion. It can be productive or it can be stuck, either one. Some people are having a lot of back pain. And some people are having a lot of stomach digestive issues.
That's yours, huh?
That's mine. I got all sorts of mysterious allergies 2 years ago. All of a sudden, I'm allergic to, I can't even tell you, a dozen, maybe 20 new foods all at once.
Wow. Like somebody flipped the switch.
It was a switch.
Yeah.
And it was when I had come back from Brazil, when I come back from John of God, and all of a sudden there were a number of foods that my system could no longer tolerate.
Okay. So if we're sitting here with these Ascension symptoms. See, there we go. And allergies, because 'tis the season for allergies, right? The springtime. What are some tips for us to be able to either alleviate or to get a little bit more comfortable as we work through it, as we grow through it?
One of the best things that you can do is to do meditation of some sort or visualization. And in your visualization, you want to imagine that your hara line, which is the line of energy that connects you up to the divine and down into the earth, you want to imagine it growing larger.
Oh yeah.
So right now you may you may connect and you may feel like yours is the size of like a quarter. The whole tube's the size of a quarter. So you just imagine in your meditation it's stretching to the size of a $50. And until you feel comfortable that it's grown to that size, then you open it. And then, so you work on gently opening the hara line, because as you open the hara line, your chakras actually have room to stretch and grow. It's when they're compressed that, the chakras pushing against the barriers of the hara line. And so you're getting this squeezing feeling.
Right.
And then there's nowhere for that energy to go. So that's one of the biggest, easiest things to start with. This involves a lot of energy flow. So when we talk about flow, this is all about water.
Mm.
So get in the water, use your shower, use your bath, get in the ocean, get in the lake, whatever, and use a lot of salt with the water. You know, so for me, in the shower, I have a little container that has Epsom salt or Dead Sea salt in it. And I use that to scrub on the bottoms of my feet so that my feet release all the toxins. And if I have anywhere where I have pain, I just rub it on there and then allow the water to take the extra energy away.
Mm-hmm.
It works really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to drink a lot of water.
Yeah. Hydration.
You know, half of your body weight in ounces of water is what you should be up to. And the majority of us don't do it. And coffee does not count as water.
Sorry, but it doesn't.
I really wish it did, you know, but we're talking water.
Yeah.
And those are the biggest things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Also getting outside,
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, the earth is shedding the energy and we're shedding it. And it's happy to take it and compost it for us.
Mm-hmm.
So let it, you know, get out there, be barefoot or dig in, you know, your garden or, you know, really get it moving.
Right. You know, there's a couple things that popped into my head while you were sharing this is there is a group. I don't know if you remember Rita Coolidge.
Yes.
Okay. So, you know, she and her sister are singers, and actually her sister's daughter, they formed a group a long time ago called Walela. And in Cherokee, that means butterfly. Right?
Yeah.
And so they have a song, and it's called Wash Your Spirit Clean. And that is what plays in my head whenever I think about the spirit of water, when you're in the shower, when you're in the tub, when you're in the ocean or the stream, is really be talking to the spirit of water, you know, to wash your spirit clean.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and when you want to ask water to do that, you know, create a ritual, create, you know, have it be sacred. Like I said, I have special Epsom salt that I use, you know, you can add things like lavender to it or rose, you know, to really call out, you know, some other healing properties. But that all will work together to, you know, it lets your spiritual team know that's what you're trying to do.
Right. You know, and what we're talking about isn't something new. This isn't some, you know, brand new process to help you with the ascension. We've had this around for quite a while.
Thousands of years.
Really. And the other thing that went through my head was is the thought or the belief system that humans, the two-legged, are leading the ascension.
Sorry.
And, yeah, really. Really. When it really is Grandmother Earth. She is
Earth, yeah.
If she didn't want us here, she could so easily shake us off. So easily to do that. And that her resonance, her frequency, is the highest it's ever been in written history.
Yep.
Ever. And so in order to be here with her, we have to resonate with her.
Right. Or she will shed.
Yes. Yes. And so the upgrade, as Rob called it, the upgrade is a natural occurrence.
It is. And it's been happening for thousands of years. It's just that we're moving energetically from the survival mode into a more spiritual mode. And so we all know how big of a leap that is within ourself. So you can imagine the leap that Grandmother Earth is taking to have this occur. And so she's leading the way. And And what we're going through is just a minor indication of what she's going through.
Growing pains.
Growing pains.
We talked about this the other day, the other morning, about, do you remember what it was like when you were young and your body, your physical body was growing so much faster than you had those growth spurts, and how your joints ached and your muscles ached, and sometimes it hurt so much you're crying. I remember my mom, cold presses, heating pads, a natural healing from herbs and plants that she went to go harvest for us, and indigenous stuff, and she was trying to help our physical bodies go through that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going through a growth spurt right now, a spiritual one.
Right. And we have to be mindful that we're doing the growth spurt not only on the physical realm, but on our emotional realm. We're doing it in the mental realm. That's why our thought process and our consciousness needs to shift. And we're doing it on the spiritual realm. So we're not doing it one-dimensionally. We're doing it four-dimensionally. And for many of us, we've only been operating in 3 dimensions to begin with.
Correct.
I was looking back at a number of writings about, I've been going back in the ancient psychology, and initially it was the body-mind connection. And then it was body, mind, and spirit. But now it's like body, mind, spirit, and our emotions, because we're realizing that our emotions are so much different than our actual mind. And so you may be doing clearing in all of those, not just in the physical. So the growing pains can be really hard because you're clearing, old emotional things and old mental patterns that don't work. So they can be very trying.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But the other side of that, once you get through it, that you have the opportunity to actually utilize all the gifts that you were meant to use here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
really live your life.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I explain that in my healing classes that I do, my workshops that I do, at the moment I'm operating on 154 chakras. And what I can do with that to help other people is substantial. And if I can help you to get to a place where you're running on even more, and we just realize going from 7 to 12 is a big jump. From 12 to 22 is a big jump. And how much more flow you have in your life and how much more you can do. It's amazing if you can look at the possibilities.
Right. Exactly. And in my world, it has the combination of the indigenous belief, and in combination with the Merkaba and that belief system, and how that all kind of works together. There's a natural connection between the two.
Yes.
And, so we have a few minutes left. What I'd like, probably, Jo, if you could share with us, why did you start your second show called Soul Connections? And first of all, what is it and why'd you start it?
Well, Soul Connections, I've been leading healing meditations here at Trinity Healing Sanctuary for a little while. And this is what I've been doing. And when I came back from Brazil, it's just what happened to me. I could do healing on an entire room of people at the same time, by channeling the vibration through my voice and having it resonate out. And we had this wonderful, day where it was really clear that the healing energy had to happen. And it wasn't going to happen here because of the weather. And so my guides are like, Ash Neshi, you should be doing it live, you know. And I'm like, well, this would be great. Then I could reach everybody even though they're at home. And it really was just this natural like stepping stone. And how better for me to reach, you know, with my mission to heal the healers, having the broadcast reaching people I will never meet, you know, but knowing that, you know, maybe for one person, I help them clear or open their energy enough to do the next thing that they're meant to do. It's very, yeah, it's a big blessing. And to call it a show, it doesn't feel like a show.
No.
It feels sort of like a healing service, maybe. I don't know. But that's okay. It doesn't need a name, I guess. But I am just a conduit to connect you to your own soul and your own soul's growth.
Right. And so what Polly Jo does is she really sets up a sacred space for us to work with our own spiritual teams in a way that whatever intention that you have to remove whatever blocks, whatever barriers, to heal what you need to heal so that you can actually start utilizing your gifts more often, you know, that, and it is really about healing the heroes. And I totally agree. We haven't come up with a way to really describe, because it's not a show. It's an hour of healing and divine messages. That's how you described it.
Yep. That's the only thing that my spiritual team has given me.
Well, it seems to work. Now, Jocelyn has a question here, and it's a pretty good one. She says, how long will it take us to get through this? I will have to listen to this from the beginning for a better understanding, because she came in a little bit late.
Yeah.
So that is a good question. Length of time.
It's really up to us. It's more than one generation, you know. The energy that we move from one chakra to another chakra on a planetary basis is a 2,000-year window.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, the first 100 years are the transition. So we started the transition. We were supposed to start it in 2012. We actually started it a little bit early because of us dropping the nuclear bomb. We kind of accelerated the timetable. So we're in a space where we sped up the ascension process. So Earth has to ascend even faster than she was meant to. So she was meant to have this 2,000-year window. And the information that I've been getting, I don't know about other people, is we have about 100 to 150 years of this transition process. But the reality is that if you think about that woman who was, 117,
yeah.
The children who are coming in now have the vibration all set. So the more of them who come in with the vibration, the less they'll need those of us who don't have it, unless we've activated it. Mm-hmm. So, 100, 150 years, but it's sped up. So,
yeah, the best we can do individually, because we can only take care of our side of the street, our own stuff. Is what Polly Jo suggested, is the meditations, the hydration, and to be in water, to utilize the spirit of water for the emotional stuff.
Let me just say that the intenseness, I got a quick hit. So the intense energy will have ebbs and flows for the next 7 to 9 years.
Okay. Well, good to know. 7 to 9 years, ebbs and flows. But realize
They're kind of
that,
like tsunami flows, but
realize that after each one is that you'll get hopefully a short period of time to integrate.
Yes.
And then to master whatever it is that you are receiving.
Yep.
So what I did here is, here you go. Jocelyn gave us a possibility. Let's see. Wait, it's flowing so quickly. It's moving so fast, the comments. She's saying maybe we could call it the healing circle. That's a good one. That's a good one. And and those 7 to 9 years, here's Cindy.
Yes.
And Crystal is saying that she enjoyed the harmonic convergence in Chaco Canyon. You know what? I have not honestly thought about what was it, 3 harmonic convergences from the 80s through, what was it, the late 90s or something like that. There were 3 of them.
Yep.
Those were like, hold on to your seat because they moved some big energy.
We did.
Yeah. I also listed your website for those people who would like to contact you for any kind of healings. Did you want to say anything about upcoming classes that you might have where people might be able to find you?
Our biggest thing that's coming up here at the sanctuary, we do a healing meditation and a healer share and a meditation. I guess that's the best way to put that. Every full moon. So there's one that's coming up on the 29th. And I think the other big thing is on June 16th, which is, a month away, but we have a whole mystical healing fair that whole day. So there's healings, there's readings, there's crystals, and I'm teaching a class, a free class, actually, if you show up, on mystical energy healing. So those are the big things coming up here at the sanctuary. And I will be heading out to Star Nations this fall.
I know. I was just getting my calendar out. I know I wrote it down. Where'd it go?
In October.
October, wasn't it the 12th?
Let me bring it up.
I thought I wrote it down in my calendar, and it's not here.
So I will be at Star Nations on October 6th. And 7th. Mm-hmm. We'll be doing some transformational healing work, all based around the heart chakra. And I'm actually going to be available on that Friday and on Monday to do one-on-one healings in person for people. I will only have 8 appointments available, but sign up early and get your slot. But we're going to basically do a 2-day weekend that is similar to what I do here at the school, which is we're really going to work on transforming your heart energy, and helping the heart go through the ascension process.
Right. So we're going to be working in the heart chakra. And I'll have that information out for registration and all the descriptions and that, hopefully before the next magazine comes out, because I kind of have to do things in between.
Absolutely.
And so Polly Jo is coming to Star Nations Academy in Toma, Wisconsin. Yay!
Woohoo!
Woohoo! October 6th and 7th, and she'll be taking those healing one-on-one healings on Friday the 5th, and that would be Monday the 7th then, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, and I also put in the comments the website link if you're interested in getting the May issue of Star Nations magazine that has Polly Jo's article, her part 1 article in there. I think you'll find it fascinating in some of the historical energetic information that she has to share in there. Yeah. Polly Jo, thank you so much for being with us tonight and taking the time to be
Oh,
here.
you are welcome. Thank you for having me. It was fun.
It was fun, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
thank you, everybody that's in the chat room, for being with us and providing all of your comments and insights to what we were talking about and sharing tonight. And for those who'll be watching the recorded show, thank you so much. And you can catch Polly Jo tomorrow night. If you're interested in doing a meditation, a healing meditation, tomorrow night, that's at 7 p.m. Eastern, and at Chakra Sessions fan page. And then after that, if you would like, you can join me at the closed group at the Academy, because we're going to be talking about the shamanic journey, specifically about the shaman's death, also known as the little death. And so we get a fun week, that's for sure. We certainly do. All right. Well, good night, everybody. And thank you for being with us tonight. We'll see you next week on Communications from Home at a different time. You're going to look for me earlier in the day, because my guest is our friend, Amantha Murphy, and she's in Ireland. So the show's on, I think it's like noon Central Time and 1 o'clock on Eastern Time. So we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.